Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, today we begin our multiplication unit. Yay. Now, when I'm doing math, there's not only one way to do math. There are a lot of different ways. Some of you learned different ways to multiply or divide in previous grades. I don't care how you do it. Our goal is just to get to the end correctly. I don't care how you get home. Your goal is to be home at the end of the day. Ride, walk, bike. However, there's a lot of ways to get there. You do it the best way for you. And that's all I'm asking. I'm going to work these using the standard algorithm. Sometimes I'll show you different methods. Today I'm going to start with just the standard algorithm because I want to prove to every single one of you who think multiplication is difficult that if you can do your 1 through 9s, whether in your brain or on a multiplication chart or your fingers, you can do any multiplication problem that you're ever going to be given. All right, so first problem we have is 726 times 9. Now you should always estimate before you do the problem. Estimating is done before you do the problem. Because what happens every year is people want to get the answer and then round it. That's not estimating. That's not going to help you. If you do the problem wrong and then round it, that rounding doesn't help you. Estimating is something that you do so that the problem can be done in your head. So, and my estimate may be different than how you estimate. But we just want to get an answer that's close. So that if our real answer is 943, and we get an answer of 13,846, I'm going to know that I've done something wrong if my estimate is not close to my real answer. So the way I would estimate this is I want to be able to do this in my head. And this is the way I would estimate it. Some of you might estimate it differently. But this is the way I would estimate it. Because all I have to know in this case is what 7 times 9 is. If I know what 7 times 9 is, or I can read a multiplication chart that tells me what 7 times 9 is, this estimation is very, very easy. Because if I have trailing zeros at the back of a number, I can just write down how many ever trailing zeros I have, and then I can multiply the digits that are not 0. So what's 9 times 7?
64.
No.
63.
63.
Yeah.
But let's say I wanted to estimate this differently. Let's say I wanted to do 700 times 10. The same thing. I've got trailing zeros here. 1, 2, 3. And so I get 7,000. That's going to give me a ballpark. My answer is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of here. Now, I'm not just writing down the trailing zeros. There's a mathematical reason why we do that, and I'm going to show you that later. I'm not at that point yet. So don't just say, oh, just write down zeros. There is a mathematical reason why you do it. But for the purpose of this estimation, I just kind of want to show you this right now. Now, all I have to know to multiply this problem is my multiples of 9. That is it. I don't know my multiples of 9. Look on a multiplication chart. I'm all good with that. Count on your fingers. I'm all good with that. Those are all tools that we can use, that you have access to. So class, 9 times 6 is?
54.
54. That means I have 54 ones, which is the same as saying 5 tens and 4 ones. That's the reason the 5 goes up here. It's not just, and carry the 5. It's because I have 54 ones. And I can't put 54 in the ones place. So I have 5 tens and 4 ones. 9 times 2.
18.
Plus 5.
Equals 23.
23. Now I have 23 tens. Or 3 tens and 2 hundreds. 9 times 7. We already
63.
63. Plus the 2 more hundreds I have.
65.
65. So here I am. My estimate is near my actual product. Can you stop that, please? That would make me happy. Thank you. Now, because my parents get on me about my grade and want me to do well, so I always try to do the inverse operation to check and see if my answer is correct. Or I try and do it a different way to see if my answer is correct. There's more than one way to do things. If I'm driving to Canada, there's more than one way to drive there. I just need to get there, no matter how I drive there. All right, so what is the inverse of multiplication? Division. So if I wanted to check and see if my answer was right, I would have 6,534, and I would divide that by 9. What do I want my answer to be?
726.
726. 726. So I can always make sure I get my multiplication and division correct. There's absolutely zero reason to not get your multiplication and division correct if you take the time to check it. So when I talk to parents, as I've been doing, and they say, "My baby can't multiply," then I say, well, then at home you need to practice 1 through 9s with them, and that's all you need to practice. They'll be going, but they multiply by numbers bigger than 9. But they're only multiplying one number by one number at a time. It doesn't matter if the first factor had 12 digits and the second factor had 10 digits. You're still only multiplying one number at a time. That's it. So it's multiplication and adding. Y'all been adding forever. You need to go?
I need to fill up a water bottle.
All right. Well, you're going to wait. Let's look at the second one. We have 814 multiplied by 7. These are both factors. 814 is a factor. 7 is a factor. Factors are numbers that are being multiplied. What's the answer to a multiplication problem called?
A sum.
Nope. That's the addition. Good. Product. The answer to a multiplication problem is called the product. So if it says find the product of 7 and 9, that's just multiplying 7 and 9. All right, again, I want to estimate to see if before I find my answer. You don't estimate afterwards. That's not estimating, that's just rounding. How I would estimate it is I'd just do 800 times 7. And I know that 7 times 8 is 56. Now let me ask you this. Is my estimate of 5,600 going to be greater than or less than my real answer? Less. Because I made my factor 814 smaller. So I made this smaller, so my answer needs to be bigger than 5,600. Not like a huge amount bigger, but it's going to be bigger than 5,600. And Maddie, what is 7 times 4?
28.
28. So I have 28 ones. Or 8 ones and 2 tens.
8
Maddie,
10.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Okay. Maddie, what is 7 times 1?
7.
That's 7 tens. Plus I have 2 more tens.
9.
9 tens. So I don't have anything to carry over. Maddie, what is 7 times 8?
56.
56. That's 56 hundredths. Or 5,600.
What is that? What is that?
I don't know. I'll get it in a minute.
What is that?
All right, so we're in the ballpark. We're in the neighborhood of my estimate. So that's a good thing. If I wanted to check it, I would do 5,698 divided by 7, and I'd want to get 817. Thank you. There are other ways that you've probably learned in the past. You may have learned, and there may be more, but there's what I was always taught was called the Lattice Method.
Oh yeah, lattice.
Okay, well, I don't need the whoa. Okay, so I've seen people that have learned the Lattice Method. I don't care if that's what you use. I'm all good with that. I've seen people that use I guess it's the box method.
Wait, what? Oh yeah. I never use this. I use it right now.
And let's see, that would be 50 and 6. Honestly, I don't care what method you use, as long as you get there. Now, if it were me, I wouldn't want to have to add 56 together 23 times. Maybe you want to do that. It seems like the more steps you have, though, the more likely you are to make a mistake. So we want to do it in as concise manner as possible, where we don't make mistakes. I'm going to say again, if you believe in yourselves, and you can read a multiplication chart, or you know your 1 through 9s, not a single solitary multiplication problem you're going to get this year is going to be too difficult for you to do. I don't care if you use your multiplication chart. If it's some sort of test where you're not allowed to use your multiplication chart, make one. And when you're making one, I don't care, count on your fingers. It doesn't bother me. The fingers are a tool. You already know your 1s. You know your 2s. The 5s are easy. I mean,
6 are easy.
6s are easy. So the 9s are easy if you do that finger thing.
Wait, what?
But you can do half of them like that, and maybe you have to count on the other half. I don't care. I just know that you can do it. Just like I know that you can do the decimals. Now, you just got to believe nothing I'm ever going to give you is going to be beyond your knowledge, beyond your ability to do. We just practice. I'm never going to not give you an opportunity to improve your grade. You say, man, Mr. McMurdo, I got a 32 on this. What can I do about that? I'm going to give you an opportunity to improve that. Okay? Because that'll give you more practice. And that's how we're going to get better, is by practice. Boom. Shakalaka. Peace out. God bless. Love you. Do something kind today. Save the beast. Please subscribe so I can get away from these crazy children.